Once again, we're staying in our office layout _2.dwg file. We're going to take a look now at how we utilize the commands divide and measure to allow us to divide and measure geometry and place objects on that geometry along those divided and measured points. Now, in order to do that, we're going to change our layer here in the Layers panel. Home tab on the ribbon, layer drop down. Make sure you're on the Nodes layer. Now, the reason that we're going to the Nodes layer is we're going to be using the Node Object Snap to divide and measure in a moment. Now, before we do anything else, we're going to go over to the Utilities panel and click on the flyout and select Point Style. Now, the default point style in AutoCAD is this little tiny dot, which unfortunately doesn't really help you when you've got it placed along a line in your drawing. So we're going to utilize a new point style. We're going to go with this one here. Looks a bit like a circle with a diagonal cross through it. And that, weirdly enough, is also the symbol for the node object snap. It looks very similar. Make sure your point size is 5% of your size relative to screen. If you set it in absolute units, when you zoom out, it's going to get much smaller. So relative to screen is an easier setting to use. So make sure that's at 5%, set size relative to screen, click on OK. Okay, so our point style is set and we're on the appropriate layer. Let's hop up now to divide and measure. Now these are on the draw panel. Click on the flyout there and just pin open the draw panel. And you've got here, you've got your point style can be placed using multiple points like that. That's if you're doing it individually. But moving along, you've got divide and you've got measure. Select divide first and come into the drawing area. Now the object we want to divide is this line here, this green line for our landscaping near our bin store outside the office space. So I'm going to select that line there, click on it, and it'll ask me for the number of segments I want it divided into. I'm going to say 5. Type in 5, enter. There's our node snaps as such. Now, they're not node snaps, they're actually point objects. And when you hover over them, you get the node object snap. But I always just call them node snaps because they're node snaps. And what we're going to do now is we're going to just copy our nice little plant here, our landscaping. Now you'll notice our plant is actually on the plants layer. Now you don't need to worry about changing the layer whatsoever. You just need to make sure that your object snaps are on, but also down here on your object snaps on the status bar, switch on node. Can you see it's already ticked? If it looks like that, just click on the word node, make sure it's ticked. And then come down here, click on the arrow there, that'll close the menu. Zoom in a bit now, and maybe pan to the center of the screen. I'm going to select my plant like so, zoom in a bit, and then right click and copy selection. And ideally you want to get that intersection in the center. Can you see it there? Intersection, left click. Now you're copying your little plant. Zoom out a bit. And what you want to be able to do is just snap to each node. So you'll see the node snap, there it is. Hover again, node snap, there it is. Hover again, node snap, there it is. A little bit of panning for the last one. And there's another node snap there. Just get over that node snap. There we go, left click. Enter to finish the copy command. And as you can see, you've nicely landscaped your little area there outside your bin store. Now that was using divide, where you divide it into an equal number of segments, 5 segments. Let's have a look at measure over here with the slightly bigger plant over here. Now, what we're going to do this time is we're going to go to this one here. There's measure, like so. So we click on measure, come into the drawing area and select the line to measure, like so. Click on it. Make sure you click on it towards the right-hand end where the plant is. Now it'll ask for the length of segment. Now I'm going to cheat here because I know what length of segment we need, which is 1000. Like that. Press enter. And you'll see they're all neatly spaced. That's because that line is exactly divisible by 1000. That's why I did it that way when I created the drawing for you. So it's the same workflow again now. We select our plant, we right click and we go to copy selection. Zoom in a bit. Make sure you get the intersection in the middle. There it is there. Left click. And then zoom out a tad. And you can see now, hover over the nodes like so. Each time you get a node snap, just left click. Work your way along. And you can place them onto those points that you've created by using the measure command. So we'll just get to that point there and then get to the last one and then enter to finish like so. So you can see now that we've got some nice landscaping around there like so. Now, one of the things that you want to do is get rid of the nodes on the drawing. Can you see them? If you look in real close, they kind of clash with the planting. So what we want to do is we want to freeze the nodes layer. So in order to do that, just go to the layer drop down, perhaps just select the 0 layer, the default layer, and then go to the layer drop down again. Now 0 is the current layer, but if you go to nodes here and click on the little sun symbol, that'll turn to a snowflake and you've frozen the nodes layer. Hit escape once to lose the layer drop down. Can you see now that the nodes have gone? The points, the AutoCAD points on that nodes layer have gone. Now, what I am going to do is bring that back again because I just want to show you something else that's quite clever with the divide and measure command. So let's put the nodes layer back on, click on the snowflake, and just hit escape once to lose the layer drop down. Now, what I'm going to do here, you'll notice as well, when I zoom in and out, can you see that 5% in relation to the screen size? Where I've zoomed in and out, they look really big. Just type regen and press enter. That will regenerate the drawing. Can you see they're now 5% of screen size again? It's quite clever. Saves you having to worry about the size of those little points that you've created on that nodes layer. I'm now going to select these plants. Not the nodes, I hasten to add, just the plants. Right click and erase like so. Now, what I can do here is when I use the divide command, I can actually use a block instead of having these points. So what I could do here is I can actually, if I want to, remove that last one as well and also remove all these points. So let's just clear everything like that. Right click. And what we'll do, we'll just erase all of that. So I'm just going to use the line itself. Going to go down to the layer here, plants, because we want the blocks that we're going to use to divide that line to be on the plants layer. Now, this is one way of doing it, but you've got to be really careful that the block is scaled to the right size when you're working in the drawing. You'll see why in a minute. So I'm now going to go here to our divide like we did before. Come into the drawing area and select my line. Now pick a point at the bottom of the line so that when you divide, it's starting at the bottom of the line and going upwards. So I'm going to click there like so. Number of segments. Now before you put in the number of segments, can you see in the brackets on the command line, block? Right click and select block. And the name of the block to insert is plant. Like that. Press enter. Align block with object. Just press enter to accept yes for that. And the number of segments is 5. Press enter to confirm. Can you see they're really tiny? They are the same plant, but because of the way that the block has been scaled, they're really tiny. So sometimes it's easier to use the copy rather than it is using the block on the divide or measure commands. So we'll do a few undos. Just take a few steps back. Keep clicking on undo until you get all of your little plants back like so. Go to your layer drop down and we'll just go back to that nodes and freeze that layer. Click on the little sun symbol. So they're now frozen. Hit escape to lose the layer drop down and we'll just zoom out, pan across, and you can see we've got a nice, neat, tidy drawing now. So we'll unpin the draw panel and you can see there how divide and measure can be used really effectively in your AutoCAD drawings. But like I said, if you're going to use blocks with divide and measure, just make sure they're scaled appropriately in the DWG file first.